Woman of Reddit. What is your I am the client, not my husband, stop ignoring me story? Wasn't my husband. Not even my boyfriend. But a guy friend I happened to have round when a joiner came to fix something in my home. I welcomed the joiner in. Started talking to him about the issue. Then he saw my friend and did a 180 to talk to him. He literally turned his back on me while I was mid-sentence. In my home. My scenario doesn't quite fit the bill, but I'm a female business owner with a male business partner. I've had a few customers born in the dark ages and reps that asked to speak to my boss. But the worst was a guy who snapped his fingers and told me to put the kettle on girly. Needless to say, he didn't get his cuppa, and he certainly didn't get the discount he asked for. Not a client per se, but a relevant story. I, 38F, caught some hunters trespassing on my property. I wasn't rude to them at all. Just waved from the other side of the field. The next day they show up at my house and one gestures towards the police car in the driveway and asks to speak to my husband about hunting in our woods. I was like, you can talk to him if you want. But that's my cruiser and this is my land, not his. They still insisted on getting permission from my husband. Happened to my mom when we went to look at colleges. The admissions guy opened by shaking my dad's hand. Constantly directed questions at my dad. And would look to him for confirmation whenever my mom said something. My mom is de facto the money person of our family unit. She manages the family finances and investments and stuff. And was way more qualified to comment on things like student loans or expected contribution. When we left that meeting, she was absolutely furious that she had to basically fight the admissions person to have a normal conversation. I've been on the flip side of this. For years, I worked at bicycle shops and regularly sold some pretty expensive bikes. One day, a couple came in. The wife was interested in a bike. And it quickly became apparent that the husband was an overpowering, dominating type. She wants to do this. She doesn't want to do that. She likes this. She doesn't like that, etc. When it became clear she wasn't being allowed to do much speaking at all, I would let the husband ask the question. And I'd reply by physically turning and giving the answer to the wife. Making eye contact with her only and pointedly ignoring the husband. It was pretty blatant. She loved it. She lit up, engaged with me, and genuinely seemed to enjoy the process of learning more about riding and getting into a new sport hobby. I hope this doesn't get buried because it's my absolute favorite thing. My husband and I were buying a new mattress. It was a joint decision on the feel of it. But my decision for the price point, warranty, etc. because I was paying for it. In other words, all the stuff we actually needed the salesperson for. Salesperson was a fine guy. Old-fashioned. Not overtly rude. But he was definitely talking to my husband more than to me. The one with the money to pay. I noticed, but I'm used to it. I was going to get my info and pay the man. Whatever. My husband, bless him, wandered away all floaty. Like he'd never seen a furniture store before. Weird. But okay. Then he came back and said, "Hey, can I have some money? I'm going to go check out the insert dumb little decorative thing in the other part of the store." I was weirded out because I have never seen him care about a lamp enough to go examine it on his own, and also we don't do that. But yeah, I said, sure, and handed him some cash. The salesman immediately stopped paying attention to my husband. Suddenly, in his mind, I was wearing all the pants. He started asking me what I did for a living, etc., and I was able to negotiate for a slightly lower price. I love my husband so much. He knew exactly what he was doing. I was buying a new sports car. My husband and I walk into the dealership and the sales guy walks up holding his hand out to shake my husband's hand and asks how he can help. Fine. No biggie. My husband says. She's buying, not me. Sales guy glances at me and says to my husband, "Well, it's not just her decision." Right. We left and I bought my new sports car elsewhere. Fucking asshole. We were buying a car for me. Paying for the whole thing outright. But financing the minimum amount because they ran a deal that got us $1,500 off if we financed through them. We paid the whole note the next month. So of course we had to sit in the salesman's office for an inordinately long amount of time answering questions. The salesman, who was great in every other way because he was a hands-off, no pressure guy. We walked from several other places when they attempted to pressure us. Would ask my husband the questions. My husband pointed at me and said, I don't know. It's her car. Salesman said. Of course. But we all know how it goes. Right. And kept asking him. So what ended up happening? Because we both wanted to get the paperwork signed and get the hell out of there with the car, but we were also on the same wavelength wondering about how far we could go with this. Was that the salesman would ask my husband the question. Husband would blatantly turn to me and repeat the question. I would answer him. Then he would turn back to the salesman and repeat exactly what I'd said. Dude never got the idea that maybe he could just ask me the questions. On the car we bought for my husband a few years later. Since we put both our names on the paperwork we both had to sign. The finance guy saw my last name was different and asked when we were getting married. And was confused when we said, 8 years ago. This August the 1st bought a new truck and took my boyfriend with. He is white and I am Mexican. We arrived at the dealership and I asked about the Explorer they had front and center. Salesman comes over and is asking a bunch of questions to my BF. He told him it's for me. I was ignored for the entire conversation. I got up and started looking at the truck. A Hispanic salesman comes and asks me if I need help. I was out of there within 1.5 hours, keys in hand. Found my BF with the other salesman. I looked at BF and said I bought the one I wanted. Manny G got me squared away. The look of utter disappointment and anger on the guy's face was worth it. My BF chuckled and said, I told you she was the one buying. Manny, you were great. My wife and I are both physicians. She is very type A in particular. I am much more relaxed and I go with the flow. We recently had a new home built and since then have done a lot in regards to landscaping and adding to the home. Finishing the basement. Adding on a standby generator. The thing is, despite my wife usually being the one to reach out to contractors, and despite the fact that she is the one who wants things done in a specific way, and despite the fact that I usually refer them to her, they always try to contact me first. Talk primarily to me when we are both present. And reach out to me when they have questions or need to let us know things. It is bizarre. Like, I am the dude in pajama pants and a sweatshirt playing the floor as lava with the kids. Does it look like I care what kind of finish is on the cabinets? Talk to the wife. We all know she is in charge. Edit. Thanks for all the discussion. I understand all the. Top reply is from a man. Comments and I get it. I am in no means trying to speak for all women or even a majority, just trying to point out evidence of gender inequality that I have seen from my perspective as a husband and father. Did not mean to offend. And never expected the post to get this much traction. I'm the husband. But when we have any kind of work done on our house, everyone constantly tries to make eye contact with me and pal around. My wife does all of that stuff. I don't know anything about any of it. I literally spend the whole time redirecting people to deal with her. Sometimes I just excuse myself and have her fill me in on details, which I don't care about or need to know. Later. My wife and I in Dubai. Being the Middle East, they would exclusively approach me, but the credit card was hers. Every damn time. Not exactly the same. But still not awesome sexism. When we were having our house built, the lady helping us kept saying that the house would have Wi-Fi on all 3 floors. But we asked and paid extra to have Ethernet cables run to certain rooms. She laughed and said, well, he can have one run to his office. But you'll be fine with Wi-Fi, and I was like, no. I would like one as well. We both play games online. Sometimes MMOs, and wanted hard lines run, and she just couldn't understand why a woman would need anything other than Wi-Fi. Just made me angry for her to make the assumptions. My husband is awesome and regularly tells contractors to speak to me about things. My dad was a machinist. My mom worked for a tool company. I've built bathrooms. Put shingles on. Repaired popcorn ceilings. Built stairs. Repaired dishwashers. Sinks. Washing machines. Etc. Even things like spackle. He's like, maybe you should do this. You are better at it. He handles the car. I handle the house. Divide and conquer. It's so frustrating when people assume I don't know anything about repairs or tools. Heck. In high school I took AutoCAD. I'm just glad my husband is very supportive and thinks I am capable of doing things. Edit to fix the thinks to knows.